In your science notebook, in the table of contents, yesterday, or actually earlier today, sorry, you should have written chemical and physical changes vocabulary, ... page 52. Now you're getting ready to do the chemical and physical changes engage lab. So you need to put that in your science notebook, ... page 53. So using what was on Google Classroom, you should have written down your vocabulary words on page 52. Make sure you label it 52. Make sure you write chemical and physical changes vocabulary. I wrote vocab because I ran out of room. And there were 3 words on Google Classroom that you should have copied down into your science notebook. Now on page 53 for the lab, you're going to glue this page down and label it 53. And then watch the video to fill this in as the video plays. Our science lab today is going to be a demonstration, so you're going to watch the video and answer the questions on your chemical and physical changes workbook page or notebook page. So the first thing says apple was sliced. So here I have an apple and I'm going to slice it with a plastic knife. Okay, I'm actually going to make 2 slices in it because I need 2 pieces to do something with. Okay, so here I have a big piece of apple and I have 2 little pieces of apple. Is this still an apple? What are you observing? What change observed? Well, I observed that the apple changed its shape. That's what I'm observing. So that I would write that on your notebook page, change shape. Is that a physical or chemical change? You decide. We will talk about it after this video is over, or at the end of the video. So I'm going to put this apple in the bag because it's part of Miss Lucas's lunch. Then I'm going to take this piece of the apple and put it in this small plastic bag because the next one says apple was smashed. So now, I'm going to smash the apple. Oops. My bag popped and apple shot out. Trying not to make a mess. So, when the apple is smashed, what do you notice happens? Well, it gets smaller, the juice comes out, it gets flatter, it's still changing shape, changing size, getting juicier. What type of change is that? Write it on your notebook. The next thing on your notebook page says paper was burned. So here I have a piece of paper. And I'm going to burn part of it. I'm not going to burn all of it because that would take too long. I have a pan to put it in as it burns.
What change are you observing happening to this paper?
Didn't burn completely because I had to drop it too soon. Okay, so the paper used to look like this, white. Now the paper looks like this. It's black and ash. It changed into something totally different. It's no longer paper, it's ash. I could still write on this paper. I can't write on this ash, it just disintegrates. So what type of change is that? Chemical or physical? Write it on your notebook paper. The next one is glow stick snap. So I have some glow sticks here. I'm going to turn out the lights. There's a glow stick. and I'm going to snap it. What change, hopefully, are you able to see happen? The color, you should have noticed, the color of the glow stick changed. It's a brighter color green now. So the color changed. Was that a chemical or physical change? Write it on your notebook page. Next part of our video, it says apple flesh browned. So I have a piece of apple that we cut earlier and I just let it sit here. And you can see now that the flesh of the apple, which is, that's parts of the skin, the white part was the flesh, but now it's not white anymore. It's brown. So you need to write down your observations. You notice that the flesh changed color. And then what type of change is that? Is that a chemical or a physical change? The next part is milk and vinegar combined. So I have this bag, and hopefully we don't make a mess in my room and over my computer. Try that again. We're going to pour some milk in this bag. And we're going to pour some vinegar in the bag. Zip it up. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this very well. So I'm trying to show you guys what has formed in this bag. I don't know if you can see the things in the bag. You can see, it looks like you can see it a little bit better. What happens if we open the bag? How well can you see it? Nope. Let me squeeze out as much of this air as possible. Okay. So there, you should be able to see that stuff, that little chunky stuff that's floating in this milk? It wasn't in there before. Oh, there's a big old chunk of it. See all that? So your observation should say that you observed some chunky particles in the milk. The chunks were not in the milk beforehand, but they are in there now. So what type of change is that, chemical or physical? The last part of our lab says ice cube melted. So here we have an ice cube. I put a black piece of construction paper under it just so you could hopefully see the ice cube a little bit better. And we're going to observe it and see what happens when it melts. So I'm going to speed the process up a little bit. What do we need to do in order to make this ice cube melt? Well, we need to apply heat to it. So I'm not going to put it on a stove or anything, but I am going to hold it in my hand to make the process happen a little bit faster, and it is warming up from my body heat. The ice cubes are not melted completely. You can see the cube parts are right here, and the part that is melted is right here. So what have you observed about that? Has it changed into something new, or is it still the basic same item? Write it down on your notebook, and then we're going to talk about the answers. Now that you have filled in page 53, we are going to go over the answers. With the apple slicing, you hopefully noticed that the size of the apple changed. It got smaller. and that's a physical change because it was still an apple. Nothing else new was made. When the apple was smashed, the shape of it changed. Instead of being big and kind of three-dimensional, I kind of got flat and actually changed into liquid in some parts, which was another physical change because it was still an apple. When the paper was burned, hopefully you noticed some fire, smoke, and ash. That was a chemical change. We got something new. It was no longer paper, now it was ash, so that is a chemical change. When the glow stick snapped, you should have seen a light. Might have been hard to see, but we should know that when a glow stick is snapped, we have a light, and that is a chemical change. When light is produced, that is a sign of a chemical change happening. The apple flesh browned. That's a change in color, and that is a chemical change. What is happening there is the oxygen that's in the air is getting to the flesh of the apple and the different things that make up the apple, and it's actually oxidizing, and it's making that apple rot. And rot is a sign of chemical change. And its color change is a dead giveaway. Just like when we had light produced on the glow stick, we had a color change for the apple browning, so that is chemical. The milk and the vinegar combined form that precipitate. That's that chunky stuff that I tried to have you see in the bag. That's a chemical change. The ice cube melted. That's a change in shape. Instead of being a three-dimensional ice cube, it was just a liquid water. But it's still the same thing. It's still H2O. No matter if it's a liquid or a solid, it's still H2O. So that was a physical change. Now you need to answer questions 2, 3, 4, and 5 on your own. You should be able to answer those questions based off of the video and based off of the chart.